In this video, you will learn how to determine the probability of an event. Have you ever played Yahtzee? Yahtzee is the game where you have to roll 5 dice and you get points based on the combination of the numbers that you roll. The best roll you can get is 5 of a kind. It's called a Yahtzee. What are the odds? That's another way to say, what are the chances? And another way to ask that is, what is the probability? The probability of an event is a number that represents the likelihood that the event will occur. Those numbers can go from 0 up to 1. Here you can see it on a scale. So the lower the number, the closer it is to 0, the least likely it is. But the higher it is, the closer to 1, or 100%, the more likely it is. Relating to probability is likelihood. The likelihood of an event is a word or a phrase that indicates the probability in a more general way. You can see the words and phrases that are used to tell the likelihood on the top of this scale. So something that has a 0% probability is impossible. Something that has a 100% probability is certain. Anywhere in between there, and it could be unlikely, equally likely to happen or not happen, or likely. Let's look at probability and likelihood related to flipping a coin. How many different possibilities are there when you flip a coin? You could flip heads or you could flip tails. There are 2 possibilities. Those possibilities are called outcomes. Let's find the probability of flipping tails. This is how you might see the problem written. P and then parentheses with the word tails inside. First, we have to know how many possible outcomes there are. There are 2 possible outcomes in this situation, heads or tails. The probability of flipping tails would be 1 out of 2 because there is 1 favorable outcome. Tails would be the only favorable outcome when we're trying to flip tails. So the likelihood of flipping tails is equally likely. Tails is equally likely to happen or to not happen. And that's only because the 2 sides of the coin are the same, and you never know. It could be 50-50 whether it would land on heads or tails. We can say the probability of flipping tails is 1/2. That's based on the 1 favorable outcome and 2 possible outcomes. Or you could say it's 0.05, 5/10, or you could say it's 50%. Let's take a look at this spinner. This spinner has 4 equal-sized pieces. Now, the fact that they are equal-sized is important because if they were not equal-sized, then we could not say that there were 4 equally likely outcomes. Now, the other thing is there are 2 spots that are red. So the possible outcomes here are red or yellow or blue, right? So it could land on any of those 3 colors. But there's a higher chance of the arrow landing on red than there is yellow or blue because there are 2 spaces out of 4 that are red. Let's find the probability of the spinner landing on yellow. I know we said that there are 3 possible outcomes because there are 3 colors, but because the spaces are 4 equally sized pieces, we have to say that there are 4 possible outcomes. It could land on the first space or the second space or the third space or the fourth space, regardless of the color. Out of those 4 possible outcomes, one of them is yellow, so one of them is favorable. This means that our probability of spinning yellow is 1/4, or 0.25, or 25%, and the likelihood is unlikely. If you were hoping to get a yellow in order to win a game, you are unlikely to get that yellow. Is it possible? Yes, but it's not likely. What about the probability of spinning red? 2 out of the 4 outcomes are favorable. 2 out of the 4 spaces are red. So if we simplify that fraction, 2/4, we can divide top and bottom by 2, and that is equal to 1/2. That means that spinning red or not spinning red is equally likely. What is the probability of spinning not blue? There are still 4 possible outcomes, and 3 of those outcomes are favorable because getting not blue means we could get red or yellow or the other red. So we can say that the likelihood is likely, and the probability is 3/4 or 75% or 0.75. We'll try one last one with the spinner. Again, 4 possible outcomes. What is the probability of spinning green? Well, remember our outcomes are red, yellow, red, and blue. So there are 0 favorable outcomes, which means 0%, 0.0, and the likelihood is impossible. It's impossible to spin a green on this spinner. Now you should know how to determine the probability of an event. Thanks for watching.